Marvel fans, holy crap, did we just get some incredible leaks about Quantumania, Kang, and the multiverse. And I know the fandom is abuzz about this stuff, but there's one small thing that was in these leaks that I don't see a lot of people talking about that I personally think is game-changing. It's something I've wanted Marvel Studios to do ever since the concept of the multiverse was first introduced. And that's what I want to talk about in this video. I want to talk about Battle World movies. And this stuff is super hyped, and if you're a big old nerd like me, you probably already have some idea as to why. So why don't you smash that freaking like button if you're getting as excited as I am. Now, to clarify things about these leaks, this is in that big batch of spoilers that came from Marvel Studios Spoilers subreddit, and they do have very good sources, but I'm still not absolutely convinced that everything in these leaks was accurate. Now, they did spoil post-credit scenes for the Quantumania movie, which are mind-blowing. They change everything about Kang and Secret Wars, and I'm not going to talk about those specifically in this video. If you want to, I just did a video recently on that, and you can go check that out. But instead, I want to focus on a small piece in these leaks where it is said that all of the movies in the Marvel Cinematic Universe past Avengers the Kang Dynasty will all take place in what is called the Battle World universe. And that is freaking exciting, man. Like, wow, wow, wee, wah, the possibilities. And don't worry, if you don't understand why I'm so excited about this, I'm about to explain. I have to go into some comic book stuff first, then we'll talk about the Marvel Cinematic Universe and how I see the MCU doing what was done in Marvel Comics for Battle World. Now, Battle World is the name given to the planet where the heroes and villains fight in all of the different versions of Secret Wars. Sometimes it's just a remote planet where the heroes and villains are brought, like in Secret Wars 1 and Secret Wars 2. But in the Jonathan Hickman version of Secret Wars, you get, I think, where Marvel is going to pull from for these Battle World movies. And in that run in the comic books, there were these incursions happening. They were destroying different universes in the multiverse, leading to finally just two main universes and then the destruction of the entire multiverse. And that would have been it. That would have just been game over for the entire Marvel multiverse, except Doctor Doom had this crazy plan. He threw a bunch of molecule mans at the Beyonders, blew them up, took their powers, and then with godlike power, he reached out into the fragments that were still remaining from all of the destroyed universes from the incursions, and he grabbed what he could and he put it all together on Battle World. And so the Battle World in the Jonathan Hickman Secret Wars run was made up of a ton of different universes, a ton of different versions of familiar Marvel characters to fans like you and I, and every little part of Battle World ended up being its own unique universe. But it was just a planet. It was a single planet with all these universes smashed into each other, creating what was left of the entire multiverse. And to really make the Secret Wars event massive for Marvel Comics, there was an initiative done where most of the regular books that people were reading ended, and then there was a long period of time, I think an entire year, where any Marvel book you read was taking place on Battle World. And this allowed Marvel Comics to do a ton of really interesting, like, Elseworld stories with things like the 90s X-Men from the old 90s X-Men show having an adventure on Battle World. There was a different version of Civil War taking place with Avengers characters that we were familiar with, but just slightly different, right? You had like Tony Stark and She-Hulk were lovers. Captain America wore this really crazy kind of like armor battle suit thing. It was awesome. Deadpool himself had a Secret Wars that took place on a portion of Battle World. You had Old Man Logan traveling through a zombie-infested part of Battle World, getting into other parts where he had variants of the X-Men that he was familiar with that he had to encounter. And a lot of the books around that time period were really enjoyable, and they did just really fun, crazy comic book things. It allowed these writers to create canon stories stories that involved all kinds of fantastical elements because they knew, well, this is simply taking place on Battleworld and it's not really going to be consequential when we come back to the reset Marvel universe. And the main reason that I'm so excited that Marvel Studios is doing this is because this is going to allow them to fully utilize the power of the multiverse and crazy variants, because up till now we've merely scratched the surface of what you can do with Marvel variants. We had all the Spider-Man together, and some of the villains of those Spider-Man were slightly changed when they were in our universe, and then in the Multiverse of Madness we do meet other versions of Doctor Strange and the Illuminati from 838, and it was really awesome. But a lot of people were mad about Multiverse of Madness because they expected even more things, like a Tom Cruise Iron Man, things like Chris Evans as Hydra Cap, all kinds of really wild, interesting possibilities with Marvel characters. And if you've ever played one of the Marvel mobile games or even some of the AAA Marvel games, one of the fun things you can do is mismatch characters, combine them, and create awesome Elseworld versions. And Marvel Comics is just so full of fun, crazy variant things you can do. Like, there's a universe where Thanos is actually Captain America and wears a suit. There's a universe where the heroes never leave Battleworld, and Rogue and Captain America have a child named Crusader who has the powers of Captain America and Rogue and is worthy of Mjolnir. There was a version of the Punisher that actually had the soul of Doctor Strange trapped within him, and he was like the Punisher Supreme, making astral projection weapons and crazy stuff like that. And Battleworld itself, in the Jonathan Hickman run of Secret Wars, had this real Game of Thrones high fantasy vibe. I mean, there was Castle Doom. You had this massive Galactus statue that served as a sentry and gave light to the rest of Battleworld. God Emperor Doom sat on a throne that was essentially the World Tree, and then you had all these other regions that are governed by other, like, very powerful figures. Like Apocalypse had his whole side of Battleworld where he ruled. Sinister was a duke or a baron, and he ruled a big part. All of the Braddocks ruled a part of Battleworld, and it was all like castles and high fantasy and tons of fun stuff, right? So there's just a lot of juice that was done in the Battleworld books and in general with crazy variants from Marvel. But now let's talk about the Marvel Cinematic Universe, because Marvel in the movies and in the shows, they've always been very different than the comics, right? So what could some of this look like? What do we think could be happening here? And my mind immediately went to a movie like Deadpool 3. And Deadpool 3 might actually come out before the Kang Dynasty, but it's said to be involving a lot of similar elements to Secret Wars, including Fox X-Men, maybe the Fox Fantastic Four, obviously different variants of Logan and Deadpool, and the TVA and Mr. Mobius himself are also said to play a big role in Deadpool 3, and so it might be this thing where they're going through different universes, ultimately ending up on Battleworld. Will we see this Deadpool movie take place on Battleworld, where he's going to fight all of these different variants and versions of himself and other Marvel characters? But you see, that's literally the tip of the iceberg. One of the other crazy things that I've been thinking about is, what are they going to do with the Spider-Man? Because Sony's building towards some kind of Spider-Geddon idea, and the Spider-Geddon of Marvel Comics in recent history did deal with the fallout of Secret Wars. Is it possible Sony will make a movie with Tobey, Andrew, Tom Holland, and even maybe Tom Hardy Venom, all taking place on Battleworld before they end up meeting up with other Avengers on Battleworld? I mean, you could do a zombie film on a portion of Battleworld where there are a bunch of Marvel zombies, and you have characters like Kate Bishop and Hawkeye and maybe some other street level characters dealing with that threat, and essentially do a big Marvel Zombies movie with actual MCU characters on Battleworld. Maybe you could have Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers, fighting alongside Monica Rambeau and Miss Marvel in space, but there's a crazy army made by an evil version of Tony Stark that fused himself with Ultron. We could actually get Chris Evans as Hydra Cap fighting against Sam Wilson, Captain America, and some of the other Avengers, completely taking place on Battleworld? What if you had Wesley Snipes' Blade teaming up with Mahershala Ali Blade as they take down multiple Draculas all on this crazy part of Battleworld? And could this be the place, or could these be some of the movies where Marvel could put in some of the most fascinating, crazy Elseworld things possible? Like, I've been thinking a lot about Old Man Phoenix, a version of Wolverine that exists at the end of time, and he's like one of the only possible hosts for the Phoenix Force, and so therefore he becomes Old Man Phoenix. Could we get an Odin Force full-on, just absolutely overpowered version of old King Thor doing much the same? Could we do Storm as the Sorceress Supreme? What about a version of John Krasinski's Reed Richards that actually becomes Doctor Doom, like in the Earth X run? I think the possibilities are damn near endless, and I also think this would just be such a fun marketing thing if, when Kang Dynasty comes out, there's just Battleworld after that, and you get a series of movies that are on Battleworld but not the actual big Secret Wars event. That's going to be this whole big time period where all Marvel fans are going to be excited about Battleworld, speculating about what could be possible on Battleworld, what shenanigans and what kind of crazy variants will we see in whatever particular Battleworld film. It's like its own sort of side hype story that I think Marvel fans would be absolutely pumped about. And so I personally think this is huge. I would love to know what you think about the possibilities in the comment section below. Smash a like on this video if you had a good time watching it. Make sure you subscribe to this channel and our live streaming channel, because we give away dope, nerdy things each and every month to a lucky subscriber. And if you want to watch more, why not check out the video I just made about all of the Quantumania leaks and how this affects Kang and the multiverse? It's absolutely mind-blowing.